Welcome to another episode of Millionaires Are Made, the show where we believe you can be a millionaire in all 6 aspects of health. We do physical health, mental health, social health, spiritual health, financial health, and today's episode is going to be on intellectual health. And interestingly enough, our topic is sports. But we're going to be focusing on sports and the brain, on your intellectual health. If it's your first time watching Millionaires Are Made, this is a show built on the fundamental belief that every person you meet knows something you don't, and that there's something to learn from just about everyone in this big, beautiful world, in the spirit of authenticity and to remove as much bias or persuasion as possible. All of our guests are introduced to me about a half an hour before the show. My team goes and finds them, so I actually don't know who they are until it's announced. And we don't talk about our tips. I like them to have their own journey and bring their own tip in without any bias or persuasion. So these are going to be 4 awesome guests with 4 awesome tips. And I can't wait to learn what they're going to say about intellectual health and sports. Audience, thank you so much for watching. We love you. We couldn't do it without you. We love questions. Please ask questions. We'll ask them live on air and put our guests a little bit on the hot seat. As well as I want to give a big shout out to some of our followers. Do that right now. Thank you so much on Facebook, Joseph Polanin. Thank you for following. You make our day a lot better. On Instagram, Jennifer with the Empowering Boss Babe. Love you so much. TikTok, Rafida Arshad. And on YouTube, Luke Harlan. Thank you guys for following. Super awesome to have you guys. You make our life a lot easier. Guests, if you want to be a guest, I know you have something to share. Just like all the people we had today, we'd love to have you on our show. Please check out our link right below, and you can sign up and be a guest on one of our future episodes. Everyone's got a little tip. I know you got something you can share. Come be a guest. Get on our show. Come share the wealth of the world. www.millionairesaremade.com. You can check it out there. And if you are going through something right now and you're not sure how to fix it, maybe you're having a spiritual health crisis or something with your social health, we love topics. If you give us a topic and something that you might need help with, we will go find 3 guests that have tips on it, and hopefully they can give you an awesome tip that'll make your life a little bit easier. And if you love all the info we give, I do hang out with experts all day, every day. And I love to give back as well. So if you want a one-on-one with me, I do free coaching, free growth sessions. That link's being dropped right now, growwithaustin.com. You can check it out, talk with me one-on-one. Hopefully I can either tell you someone smarter than me that can help you with your life, or maybe I'll be able to do something myself. And again, if you love this and you love free info and everyone helping everyone, like, share, subscribe, stars, whatever it is on wherever you're watching, please help us out. We'd love that. And without further ado, we do have some awesome sponsors that help us out a lot. So I'm going to give them a big shout out. First off, we have Eric at Elm Law Office. The team at ELM Law is dedicated to delivering highest quality legal representation. They are like the #1 lawyer for family law and immigration in Colorado. Our next up is Healing Vocals Artist Management by Dr. Mary Anderson. This woman's amazing. She takes medicine and fuses it to music to create a global impact. They heal bodies physically and uplift souls with their music and artist support. Next up, we got Ben Thinking About Your Health, one of the best insurance agents in the world. Ben offers nationwide PPO health insurance. You have the freedom to choose a doctor, cost-effective, tax-deductible plans, and top-tier coverage, which save you money. So if you're shopping for health insurance, go check out Ben. And we've got the True Leaders. It's an awesome bi-monthly magazine offering practical guidance, inspiring stories, and in-depth interviews for aspiring and current leaders, which all of you are, even if you haven't realized it yet. Digitally, it's free, but in print, you can buy it on Amazon as well. And without further ado, we will be bringing out our first guest, Sam Westfall. Hey, Sam, who are you?
Good morning, Austin. Sam Westfall with Archery in Motion.
That's it? That's all you are? Perfect. Easy.
Come on, man.
All right, Sam. Well, if I wanted to improve my intellectual health of sports, tell me what tiny piece of advice you would give me.
You know, for me, it really is archery. Jumping into being able to focus, shot placement, diving into what the mechanics are of drawing the bow, drawing the string, making sure your sights are lined up. It's that focus, that deep mental focus in archery that helps keep that that intellectual health going and keeps you moving through the life.
So deep focus, learning how to have patience and breath.
Control.
What are some of the tips you give new archers that helps with that, what might help with their intellectual health?
Follow your form, follow your shot process, right? So making sure that you've got each draw is the same everything. So it's finding the right space, finding the right footing, finding the right body placement, making sure that you've got good form, good process, and follow through.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you kind of told us a little about this, but tell us more about where you learned this piece of advice.
I've been a hunter and competitive shooter for about 35 years. So going through both firearms and the archery spaces, getting a better understanding of making sure if you're going to be accurate and you're going to be consistent, you have to do the same thing over and over and over again. Repetition is key. Over the last 14 years as an archer and bow hunter, making sure that I can follow through those same process forms and follow through to get into that same position to make those good shots every time.
Nice. Do you have let's just see if someone isn't into archery or isn't good at it physically, is there a way to overcome that with your intellect?
Um, it's really about form. So it doesn't matter how strong you are. Anybody can pull a bow. You may have to get a lower poundage draw weight, but anybody can pull a bowstring back. It really is form, process, and follow through.
Awesome. Very cool. Awesome, Sam. Thank you so much. We are going to move on to our next guest here.
Thanks, Austin.
His name is Caden. Caden, who are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm an autistic college student, writer, and activist dedicated to making a positive impact on the world, and a writer for the sportscolumn.com, which you can check out in the chat.
Can you say that again?
The sportscolumn.com is who I write for.
Very cool, man. That's awesome. Well, let me ask you a very important question, Caden. If I wanted to improve my intellectual health with sports, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
With sports, I'd say do running mainly. Actually, go for any of the sports you can, because research has shown that sports not only impact your physical health, but it impacts your mental health as well. And diet and exercise are huge key factors to mental health, just as much as physical health.
I love it. Awesome. And where on your life journey did you learn that information, Caden?
Actually, a couple of months ago, I was in college. I'm a college student, about to be a junior next year. And there was this girl I had a crush on.
Nice.
And I was going through a lot this past school year. I was stressed about schoolwork to the point of me getting physically sick and having to go to therapy, which is another useful tip. And after seeing this girl I had a crush on kiss a guy who I thought was her boyfriend, I broke down in tears and I told myself I need to start working out. So the following day, I went to my school's local gym and have been focusing on improving my diet. I kicked energy drinks in 2023, but next up is fast food and any soft drinks. But I honestly consider myself a very patient person.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, that's amazing, man. Thanks so much, Caden. We'll
you,
pull out
sir.
our next guest and we'll bring you back in the round robin here. Next up, we've got Yasi. Yasi, who are you?
Hey guys, thanks for having me, Austin. My name is Yossi, and I'm a holistic coach in terms of physical fitness, health, and mental. And I'm a father of 3 kids, married, and yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Oh man, I apologize if I make grimaces. I pulled my hammy and it's not very pleasant right now. All right, Yasi. Speaking of sports, pulling hamstrings. If I want to improve my intellectual health with sports, what piece of advice would you give me?
You got to protect your guts. You got to protect your brain. And so you have to work out smartly you've got to get the right blood flow in there, because if you don't get blood flow, everything's going to be a bit muddy. And if with the ball, I train specifically on the exercise stability ball, which I'm bouncing on right now, and it improves reaction time. So if you on the sports field and you have to suddenly move, so many people get injured because they haven't built up their core properly, and will get hit in the head, so they can't react as quickly. So their intellectual health will go down. So you got to protect what you got, and build up your focus, your mental health, your physical health, as well as your reaction and balance, so that you can protect from falling, from hitting your head, from evading tackles, whatever the case is.
Wish I would have talked to you yesterday. That would have been fantastic. Where on your life journey did you learn this tip, Yossi?
I've been on a over 20-year life journey with health and fitness. I had serious back issues, and it affected my intellectual health, because all I was focused on was my pain. And until I sorted that out, using my training method on the ball, I got rid of my back pain, and I was on a journey to eat healthy, change my diet, get my confidence up, right, because it affects cognitive abilities. You're building new neural pathways, how to move, how thought patterns, and it affects everything what I do using the ball, and how I train, and it affects to other areas of life.
That's awesome. All right. Very cool. All right, Yossi. Well, thank you for the tip a day late after I got injured. But we're going to move on to our next guest, and we'll bring you out for the round robin here.
Right.
Next up, we've got Krista. Hey, Krista, who are you? Tell us everything.
Hi, and thank you for having me. My name is Krista Ford. I am a professional athlete, a professional powerlifter. I'm one of the strongest women in the world. So I'm actually in my sport and professionally. That's what I do. And as well as a strength coach, I'm an author of my first book coming out, and I'm a motivational speaker. But I'm a professional athlete first out of all of that.
Yeah. Nice. You got a book coming out, huh? That's cool.
I do. Yep.
Is it going to be on how to not pull your hamstring?
Yes. It's going to be especially for you, Austin.
I'll read it multiple times. All right. Well, if I wanted to improve my intellectual health with sports, tell me what piece of advice you would give me.
You have to research what you're trying to do in any sport. First and foremost, you have to educate yourself. That's your mental. All athletes on my level, professional on this level, we have a visualization technique that we do. We mentally get it in our head. We have to focus on it, but you got to do your research. You got to figure it out mentally first. So what you think about, you will always bring about. So in our sport of powerlifting, 90% of it is mental and technique. 10% of it is strength. You got to get it all upstairs first.
All right.
Yeah. So you got to research it and really get into it. Educate yourself. That's what you need to do. So mentally, you got to get into it first there, then go for the rest. Yeah.
You said 90% up here, learn about it, and 10% is actually the form and the lifting.
So the 90%, the technique and mental, those go together. And then 10% of your strength comes along.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Just I guess a quick little side note. So you're still an active power lifter then, yes?
Yes.
When's your next competition, or when was your last competition?
I just competed in nationals last Sunday on the 9th for my 35th year being out there, and I won my championship once again, my title. So it's 14 times for me now.
Damn. All right, Krista. Cool. All right. Well, I guess we asked you where you got your tip. You gave us a great tip, man. Man, it's gonna be all right. I'm gonna bring everyone out, and I'm gonna start off with a question that might be a little controversial. What's up, Yossi? What's up, Sam? What's up, Caden?
Yo, how old are you, Krista?
I won't go to time.
I don't think
I've been doing this a long time. I will be close to 60 very shortly.
Oh, high respect, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, I'm actually going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to ask each person individually. So we'll go back and start with Sam. And I just kind of want to hear your thoughts. So I just read an article. What's up, Sam? So I just read an article, and they did research on which sports actually kind of spurred this topic. Which sports are for the smartest or make you the smartest? And the answer, scientific research shows, racket sports make you the smartest. Tell me what your thoughts on that.
So I buy into that, right? You're dealing with action moving, you're moving, the target's moving, the ball's moving. You got to stay, avoid running headfirst into a wall while you're trying to catch that ball. So that makes total sense to me. I would challenge it just in the fact of archery takes a lot more, you have to understand a little bit of physics involved, a little bit of trajectory, and dealing with potentially moving targets when you're talking archery in motion.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, tennis, I think they say there's like 68 different shots or something like that between all the different areas and heights and stuff. And so what, archery, you think there's 10,000 different shots?
If when you get into 3D archery, you've got multiple different animals, and I take targets that and make them move. So now that you're talking, not only is the animal shape different, but the target's in motion, the terrain's not smooth, so it's bouncing up and down. It creates a whole different shot scenario every time you shoot.
Interesting. All right. Let's go ask Yasi this question. Hey, Yasi.
Hey, how you doing?
Science shows that the most intellectual sport group is racket sports. Racquetball, squash, tennis, pickleball, God forbid. Tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, having been a squash player and a tennis player myself, I can definitely buy into that.
Okay.
But the problem was it's very high impact, and I was always hurting my back and my knees. So until you get that right, until you fix your core, your stability, your reaction, because it's all about reaction, right? Coordination, reaction. So you got to actually improve, because people who aren't ready for that kind of jolty movements and sudden movements, there's so many injuries, and then that brings them off the sidelines and they can't play. So then how's that going to help intellectually? They have to, you want it sustainable and longevity to have intellectual benefits. So building up the right muscles, the right reaction, so you can react as quick as you can without hurting yourself with your quicker reflexes. That's how racket sports definitely can be right up there in intellectual ability.
Is badminton a racket sport?
It's not a ball sport, but it's definitely a racket sport. I play badminton as well. Also very fun, a lot of high reflex sport. You got to think very quickly, but again, a lot of injuries, shoulder outage. It's not a ball. It's I'm not sure what you call it. It's a feather thing, and you got to be really, really quick. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's really it helps with focus and cognitive abilities. But again, like, you got to make sure that you don't get injured. You're ready for those sudden jerks and reaction.
I love it. All right, I'm going to move on and ask Krista this next question then. Krista? They say the number one sport to help you intellectually is racket sports. Agree, disagree, or what are your thoughts?
I would agree to a certain degree.
Okay.
Because racket sports are a lot of hand-eye coordination as well as high impact on your body. You got to be able to think quickly to move fast. So I would say that's pretty spot on. I would think golf probably would be one of those too. It's not racket, but you got a golf club, and you got hand-eye coordination. You got to figure out where to get that ball to. So I would say yes. I would say that's pretty accurate, I would think.
What do you think is the least intellectual group of sports?
Oh man. You know what? I'm not even I don't even know if I should comment about that one.
I was curious to see what you would say.
You know what? If I had to name one, and it's just in my realm, would be bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding, but you told us that was so versus like powerlifting.
Right. So bodybuilding is more of a show.
Okay.
Powerlifting and Olympic lifting and strongman, the strongest woman and man win at the end of the day.
Okay.
So I don't think it takes a lot of brains for you to be in a bodybuilding show. And I used to be bodybuilder long time ago, like the Arnold. It don't take a lot of brains to figure that one out. You
All
just get
right,
in the
yeah.
gym and you lift and things like that. To me,
I don't know much about cricket, but one of our audience members said cricket, but
that's
I don't
a
know.
lot of hand-eye coordination. I wouldn't. Yeah, I think that would be on that list of being one of those ones you really got to think about. But yeah.
Yasi agrees with you.
Yeah.
Let me go ask Caden real quick. Caden, science shows that the most intellectual sport group is rackets. What are your thoughts?
Most intellectual sport is racket sports. Huh? I can dig that. I think all sports in a way help with your mental well-being, but I'd say boxing has to be the most mentally challenging sport because you're constantly getting punched at. You constantly got to move quickly, so it's a battle of wits. In a way, I cover boxing all the time. The sports called Jake Paul particularly.
Yeah, that's a big one. What do you think is the least intellectual sport out there?
Well, I do love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'd have to say bodybuilding as well. One, you can't argue with someone who's your favorite boxer, Caden? Definitely Jake. Jake and Mike Tyson are my top two. With Mike being at number one because he's a legend, and that says a lot because I regularly cover Jake. But bodybuilding would be the least mentally challenging because one, you can't argue with someone who's been in the industry for over 40 years like Krista, and two, like she said, it doesn't take a lot of work. You just lift weights, you flex like so, and you hope for the best. My sister's actually a bodybuilder. She's done a few competitions, and I find it absurd, personally. Like I said, I love and respect Schwarzenegger. He's a total legend, but bodybuilding's just not my cup of tea.
All right. Well, we're going to bring everyone out and do a little round robin here. All right. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we talked about the least intellectual and the most intellectual sport. Any last tidbits to give us before we move on to our daily challenge?
I will just a little tidbit. They consider bodybuilding a sport. I consider it a show. It's an extravaganza show. That's why I said, as far as sports are concerned, the diet and everything, yes, about bodybuilding, you really have to get that together in your head. But as far as they considering it a sport, I don't consider that a sport, and I competed in it, so I know, you know what I mean. But I agree with how do you say his name? The top one here,
Caden.
Caden. I agree with Caden on that one. And boxing is one of those ones. Yeah.
All right, let's go with. Go ahead.
Anything that integrates your mind with your body, you got to think about it. You got to be present. That's is good for you. It's intellectual because you're constantly thinking about it. What's your next move? What's your progression? What's the mini progressions? What's the physics behind what you have to do? With boxing, I have to disagree in a certain respect because if you get knocked and you lose a few brain cells, how's that going to be intellectual? Look at Muhammad Ali. You couldn't really talk. So it depends on if you want to go longevity based or like right here at the moment based as well. Yeah, boxing like sparring is amazing. Just don't get hit in the head too much.
That's true.
All right, I've got another question. Let's go over one of the rare sports. I was just in Australia, so I was arguing with them about, more like just taking the other side. So American football. It's one of the only sports where you actually draw up plays before each action, right? Basketball has it a little bit. Team sports have like positions or plays that they want. But football, you actually stop. Both sides pick a play, and they go perform that. Do you think that helps increase your intellect? I mean, you have to study a playbook, or it decreases it because you have a coach that tells you exactly what to do and you go execute that play. Thoughts on that?
I'd say football is definitely one of those sports that's mentally challenging as well. Well, there's people coming at you. You don't know when you're about to get tackled, and you have to be quick when you have that ball. And you can't have any distractions. Look at Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. They were lucky that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl this year because, in my opinion, Swift was a distraction from the actual game.
Very, very true.
I agree.
Sam, what are your thoughts on football and intellect?
So while I understand the whole focus on the playbook and learn all the specific plays, and to me, that's one of those where it's more reactionary than it is intellectual. And reactionary does have a level of intellect to it. You have to know where to move, and how to get that done. But as a team, you are being told how to make that happen. So that eliminates some of the individual thought process to it. There are other sports where you are individualized and you have to think through what that looks like. Even back to your racket type sports earlier comment.
Right. All right, we got a question from the audience. Is MMA harder than boxing?
I would say yes, because I have one of the guys on my team. He's an MMA fighter. My whole pit crew that takes care of me when I'm powerlifting. And you have to be smart in all three disciplines: wrestling, boxing, and jiu-jitsu, or whatever the other martial art is. So I think, yeah, you got three things to deal with versus one.
Counterpoint. Does that make it even easier because you can just use those rather than just boxing, where you have to beat them on this one thing? You got to outsmart him with just your fists. Just a counterpoint.
Yeah, I think you got to be smart to be an MMA fighter. Period. You gotta figure out all three of those disciplines together is one thing, and you might not be good in one and be better in the other one, but you got to think about that. You really got to narrow that down and get that in your brain, on how it's going to work for you.
Like Yasi mentioned earlier, right? You get hit in the head too many times, you're going to lose a few brain cells along the way.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
All right, guys, it's the time of this part of the show where we got to come up with our daily challenge. It's got to be something that costs $0, takes less than 5 minutes, and is available to anyone in the world from Kathmandu to Tanzania. Any ideas or thoughts?
I'd say just be kind to people. That's definitely something free. Takes less than 5 minutes to do, depending on the person, and is definitely available to everyone. Mainly community service.
All right, let's try to focus on intellectual health and sports. Sam, Yasi, any thoughts on that?
So I'll go back to roll out of bed, do some form of physical activity, push-ups, sit-ups, jog in place, jumping jacks, something that gets your mind right first thing in the morning, that gets your body going, that gets the endorphins kicking right off the bed, right out of bed, right? That's a good way to start your day.
I'm gonna counter that with something lazier but more intellectual. What about watching like highlights of your favorite sport so you can study how the best did it?
Definitely something lazier.
But it's free.
Physically lazier, intellectually more stimulating.
Yeah.
Yasi, what are your thoughts on that challenge?
They both go hand in hand, physical and mental. I believe you can't be lazy with either. You can watch the highlights while you're balancing on one leg. How's that?
Oh,
and then you.
All right. I like that.
When you get in the morning, have a cold shower, get the blood flow going. Fix up your nutrition. That's brain food. It's so important. You get smarter the way you eat, how you eat. And just keep yourself, challenge yourself physically all the time. Watch those highlights, but sit on a ball, balance on a ball while you're doing it. It makes it a lot more intellectual plus physical. Both have to go hand in hand.
All right, I like that. Watch highlights while you're doing squats or a wall sit or something like that, so you can learn and study the sport that you like or whatever. You can watch football highlights and be like, wow, that was a great play, or watch tennis. But I do like that you add kind of combines them. That's cool. Any other thoughts on your daily challenge?
I think if you also get yourself a visual